words resonate at this time, even this week. It was on Saturday. Remember that when the expectation was right, they had looked forward to all of those, whether or not the date was going to be rescheduled. We have put out a tweet question for people to tweet at us, whether they wanted the election to be postponed or not. But eventually, it turns out that the 14th of February, which so many had looked forward to, was not going to be. So that was rescheduled, was shifted from February 14th. That's the presidential and National Assembly elections, was then moved to the 28th of March this year. And then you also have the governorship and state assembly elections will now hold on the 11th of April as opposed to the 28th of February. Well, yes, indeed, there was a much-awaited press conference. So many looked forward to it. In fact, there had been speculations concerning the exact time and date it was going to hold. Many reacted to the international media about those kind of messages. But it turned out, this was what the professor said.
Meetings and more meetings from the early hours of Saturday. The outcome of the consultations left for the guesses of journalists waiting in the wings for the news of a possible shift in the election dates. At last, after over 12 hours of waiting, the INEC chairman emerges from the room where he had been meeting several groups. Then he spills the much-awaited news.
If the security of personnel, voters, election observers and election materials cannot be guaranteed, the life of innocent young men and women, as well as prospects for free, fair, credible and peaceful elections will be greatly jeopardized. Consequently, the Commission has decided to reschedule the 2015 general elections thus. The national elections, i.e. Presidential and National Assembly, are now to hold on March 28, 2015. While the state elections, governorship and state assembly are to hold on April 11, 2015.
Professor Jega is the reason for the shift on the insecurity, mostly in Nigeria's northeastern region.
The Office of the National Security Advisor wrote a letter to the Commission drawing attention to recent developments in the 4 northeast states of Borno, Yobe, Adamawa, and Gombe, currently experiencing the challenge of insurgency. The letter stated that security could not be guaranteed during the proposed period in February for the general elections. This advisory was reinforced at the Council of State meeting on Thursday, where the National Security Advisor and all the service chiefs unanimously reiterated that the safety and security of our operations cannot be guaranteed, and that the security services needed at least 6 weeks within which to conclude a major military operation against the insurgency in the northeast, and that during this operation, the military will be concentrating its attention in the theater of operations, such that they may not be able to provide the traditional support they render to the police and other agencies during elections.
For many Nigerians, one big question is, will these be the last?
We hope and pray to God that there will be no other shifts, and we will do everything possible to ensure that there is no other shift. And certainly, as I have said, we will make sure that election takes place within the constitutional timelines.
March 28th and April 11th are the new dates. Politicians and Nigerians now have extended expectations, hoping that when these dates eventually arrive, everything would have fallen into shape. Sheung Kimbaloye, Channels Television News.
And so the story goes, the elections have been rescheduled. Well, a lot of political parties, well, yes, say they've come to accept it, but then they are not exactly comfortable with the reasons adduced for that shift. But remember, they also spoke about the permanent voter cards, much as security was the key reason there. But let's take you through some of the statistics about the distribution of the permanent voter cards before that briefing which he had, there was a lot of talk about it. Now, we went down memory lane, not too far away. Remember, they also gave us some statistics. The last time that they released the figure was on the 27th of January. And so, although INEC have then come up with the latest one, which is the 6th of February. So we'll start with the North Central Zone, a zonal analysis of the distribution of the permanent voter cards in this North Central Zone, comprising of Benue, Kwara, Nasarawa, Kogi, Plateau, and Niger states, which are all highlighted here in the map of Nigeria. But look at that. The permanent voter cards collected in that region as at 27th of February was 5,859,562. And then the 6th of February, that's the latest one released by INEC. They've been able to record now 6,023,322 permanent voter cards collected in the North Central region. So at that window, in that 1 week, that is a figure distributed in that region. Let's move over to the next zone, which is the Northeast. In the Northeast of Yobe, Adamawa, Bauchi, Taraba, Gombe, and Borno. Remember that state there. And then this is the entire region, the northeastern part of this country. The permanent voter cards that were distributed on the 27th of January at that time, which INEC did release, was 6,678,148. But the 6th of February, actually, after that week where they gave that extension, we have this figure, 7,101,417. So there you go. So some improvement, although some may say marginal improvement, but that's the latest figure released by INEC about the North Central Zone. Let's flip the page now and get over to the Northwest. In the Northwest region of Kebbi, Zamfara, Jigawa, Sokoto, Kano, Katsina, and Kaduna State, again highlighted here as we usually do, the zonal analysis of the permanent voter card distributed. Remember, the 27th of January, the first figure released was 12,784,880 permanent voter cards. But then there was that extension, and so the 6th of February, the latest figure from the Commission is 13,666,473. So the turnout, they've been able to record that figure from 12 million to a little over 13 million. Let's flip again, guys, and take you to the southeast. In the southeast of Abia, Anambra, Enugu, Imo, and Ebonyi states. Here, the 27th of February, they had 4,378,329 PVCs distributed at the time. But the latest figure is 4,798,613 permanent voter cards have been collected in the southeast region here. And then we've got this next page, and which is going to show you is the South-South. In the South-South, people of Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Edo, and Delta states. The first of those figures released as at the 27th of January was this, 6,214,977. But the 6th of February, the latest figure from the Commission, they now have 7,092,416 permanent voter cards have been distributed by the Commission. Now, this happened in that window when so many talked about they're not being able to access those venues, not just the venues, but having gone there, they were not able to get their cards. So this is the figure. There's an analysis of where and who, what figure have recorded so far about the collection of the permanent voter cards. Now, some figures just kind of stand out here. So the total number of permanent voter cards distributed by the Commission as at the 6th of February is about 45,829,808. So that's about 67.64% of the permanent voter cards recorded by the Commission. By the way, don't forget, the total number of registered voters remains the same for this year. After INEC say they have submitted or subjected the voter register to some cleaning, the AFIS, that's what they refer to it for short. AFIS is the automatic finger identification system. So in that strategy, they cleaned up the data, cleaned up the register, which it's expected to have very, very high integrity. But yeah, we get to see that figure much later. So having seen